My husband is in love again, keeping a young mistress. Now I've grown wiser, no crying, no tantrums, just considerately urging him to go on his dates. He quite pleased, bragging to his buddies, see, this is the kind of obedient wife you should marry. But his friends exchange uneasy glances, because I've been naughty with all of them. Especially that unattainable flower sitting in the corner. Last night when I was too exhausted to lift a finger, he kept pressing me, when will you make it official with me? Answer me. One Charles is in love again. This time it's a young girl. Charles likes her very much, and the girl is quite clingy too. On my birthday, Charles surprisingly came home to celebrate with me. The candle hadn't even been blown out when the phone started ringing. He avoided me, and went to the balcony to take the call. But I still heard it. Did you go home to be with that old hag? If you sleep in the same bed with her tonight, we're breaking up, I mean it. Her spoiled voice carried a domineering edge. Charles wasn't he annoyed, patiently coaxing her instead. Little jealous. When I'll come to you after cutting the cake, be good. I bought the pink diamond you like, I'll give it to you later. The other party seemed to have cooled down, adding playfully. Then you can't kiss her. Charles seemed amused. Alright, I won't even touch her. Is that okay? I was both angry and amused, since when did mistresses become so self-righteous? After Charles finished his call, I kindly handed him the pink diamond on the table. You've got the wrong one, this should be for her. He froze for a moment, then pulled another box from his pocket. An emerald necklace, your birthday gift. He can't even get the gift right. Has he really stopped caring about me to this extent? Thank you, I casually accepted it, no need to get angry. Quite the thoughtful gift. Emerald green suits me perfectly, matches my situation. Perhaps I've been too well behaved. A strange emotion flickered in his eyes. Judith. He leaned in, lowering his head to kiss me. I immediately blocked him with my hand. Don't your girlfriend doesn't he allow kissing? His eyes darkened, a flicker of anger flashing across his face. He simply sprawled boldly on the sofa. Judith, are you throwing a tantrum? His question was truly laughable. I didn't have time to deal with him. I grabbed my phone and texted his little girlfriend. Your man wants to get cozy with me tonight, might not make your date. Sure enough, Charles' phone rang shortly after. Then he rushed out the door in a hurry to placate her. I let out a sigh. People, they always change. I used to fear him not coming home. Now I dread him staying at home. Dating is getting in my way too, of course, Charles, and I got married for love. But he was destined to be a wild horse, craving only open pastures. Over the years, his little flings have been countless, plump or slender each, with their own charm. At first I refused to accept it, crying, making scenes, smashing things, hitting out. Several times, I even humbly begged him to break it off with those women, and come back to the family. Charles just looked at me coldly. Judith, stop making a scene. In our circle, who doesn't have a few women on the side? As long as you remain Mrs. Zhao, isn't that enough? I laughed. Since you're my husband, can I also go find a bunch of male models outside? Charles gritted his teeth, and called me crazy. Judith, I dare you to try it. Try it I shall. Of course I didn't actually go looking for male models. I've come to realize it's better to stop interfering with Charles' love affairs. I've become indifferent to his sordid affairs, neither crying nor making a scene, silent as a mute. He was quite pleased, bragging to his buddies while drunk, see, this is the kind of obedient wife you should marry. That day his friends exchanged peculiar glances, because you see I've been naughty with all of them too. Every time Charles started a new affair, I secretly flirt with one of his buddies behind his back. If he could cheat on me again, and again, then he shouldn't blame me for weaving him some green hats. Especially that unattainable flower sitting in the corner, Daniel, the eldest grandson of the Gu family. The night before, when I was so exhausted I couldn't even lift a finger, he was still pressing me. When are you going to make me official? Say something. That's right, Daniel has been quite clingy lately. His jealousy was no less than that of Charles' little girlfriend. I clicked on the voice message. The voice on the other end was intoxicating like red wine. Judith, come out. I didn't respond. 3 seconds later, he sent another photo. Neatly defined, toned abdominal muscles. Unwiped water droplets trailed down 2 deep Adonis belts, flowing right into my eyes. Sending me photos like this. This just blatantly asking me to go out and teach him a lesson. I'm the type who can't stand being provoked. It just makes me crave it more. Same place as always, a suite in a 5-star hotel. I stood outside the door waiting for a while, but there was no movement. Oh, someone's angry. Open the door, or I'm leaving. I wasn't about to indulge him. Suddenly the door swung open, and a well-proportioned hand yanked me inside. Daniel sat bundled up on the couch, his face icy, with an air of grievance. What do you mean by ignoring my messages? His handsome profile made me soften my tone involuntarily. He asked, at home it's not convenient. His eyelashes fluttered like feathers. Judith, divorce him. No, he froze for a moment, the corners of his eyes quickly reddening. Do you still love him? Then what am I? Don't you know what you are? But I didn't dare say it out loud. Daniel was clearly the ruthless king of the business world, decisive and formidable at the negotiation table. Every time he comes to me, he puts on this pitiful act like I've been bullying him. Yet somehow I'm completely taken in by this contrast of his adorable vulnerability. If I loved him, would I even be here with you? Just wait a little longer. I've long passed the age where love was everything. I have my own selfish motives. By the end of the year, Charles' company's 5-year Northern District project is set to launch. His assets might multiply several times over by then. If we're going to divorce, I should at least wait until I get a hefty share of the money. It's what I deserve. After all, during the toughest days of his startup, it was me who lived in the basement with him and ate instant noodles. I used the same tricks Charles employed to charm young girls on Daniel. Not leaving tonight, I'll stay with you, be good. Daniel smirked, his eyes sparkling so brightly, they nearly blinded me. I'm handsome, and my skills are excellent, no reason you wouldn't choose me. Men remain childish until death. With that he gently took my hand and led me to untie his bathrobe. Come, let me give you your present. He really knows how to do it with such beauty. Before me my resistance crumbled completely. I think I'm beginning to understand Charles' happiness. Wildflowers do smell sweeter after all, but I understand this is the joy born from moral decay. It cannot see the light of day, never accepted by worldly norms. Judith, when are you going to make it official with me? Say something. Judith, I really like you, how about you? Facing his sincere gaze, I couldn't bring myself to answer. I touched his face, a rare flicker of conscience surfaced, but not much. I was already thinking of ending it, yet he still talks about having a future with me. Then let us wait, a little longer wait, until he grows tired of our relationship and leaves on his own. Just like Charles, he once loved passionately too, but even that eventually faded into weariness. And with rich second-generation heirs like them, who knows which words are true and which are false? Trusting a man's words too easily brings misfortune. The next day, I dragged my sore body home. Where have you been? Charles for once was sitting on the living room couch early in the morning. For I froze for a moment before casually replying, can't I go downstairs for breakfast? Charles glanced at me, then suddenly stepped directly in front of me. His gaze was profound, his voice chillingly soft. Judith, where did that red mark on your neck come from? I thought of Daniel, and my heart trembled. Too much internal heat, cupping therapy pinched by hand. Charles glared viciously at my neck, clearly disbelieving because this hickey was far too obvious. He gritted his teeth. Judith, are you fucking seeing someone else? Who is he? I slammed my bedroom door shut, nearly smashing his nose in the process. Thank God we've been sleeping in separate rooms lately. Charles' menacing voice came through the crack in the door. Judith, if I find out you're seeing someone else, I'll kill him. It's Daniel, go ahead and kill him then. I knew he wouldn't dare. After all, Daniel came from a prominent family, and Charles was no match for him. At most we'd have a fight, and it might as well put an end to my messy entanglement with Daniel. To my surprise, Charles froze for 2 seconds before letting out a cold laugh. Judith, if you're going to lie, at least make it believable. What kind of man is Daniel? Why would he ever look at you? At that moment, for some reason, my heart felt like a plum soaked in cold water, chilled and sour. That was the contempt from the depths of Charles' heart. Just because he didn't value me, he could betray our marriage again and again without any psychological burden. Actually, except for Daniel, I never went all the way with any of his rich second-generation friends. I tried, but I just couldn't. It's my fault. The worst time I left the other person utterly speechless. He looked helplessly at the stains all over himself. I'm this handsome, and you actually threw up. I apologized to him. Sorry, I didn't vomit because you're handsome. It's my issue. I have emotional purity standards. I'm still different from Charles. The first truly can't be as promiscuous as he is. Except for Daniel, that was an accident. Charles, let us get divorced. I can't take it anymore. Let us end this sooner, for both our sakes. Charles froze for a few seconds. Judith, you should know how much I hate it when you throw tantrums. If I really agree to divorce, don't you dare regret it. Charles was certain I was just using divorce as a threat against him. He just didn't expect the battlefield would arrive so soon. 5. My unlucky best friend happened to be the new business manager of a star-rated hotel. She forced discount coupons on me, letting me experience it for free. Daniel raised an eyebrow. I haven't experienced it, yet please show me the way. Unexpectedly, among those drawn by its reputation were Charles and his young lady. Right after they swiped their card to enter room 817. I swiped open the door to room 818. Just a wall apart. How thrilling to think about it. So thrilling that Daniel pinned me down for a kiss the moment he stepped inside. Wait, the neighbors will hear, I protested. He teased my earlobe, his voice lazy with confidence. Relax, the soundproofing here is decent. How does he know so well? I narrowed my eyes. Who did you come here with? Daniel's Phoenix eyes gleamed. Judith, are you jealous? I'm quite pleased you're jealous for me. But don't worry, I've given all my stock to you. No one else has ever had it. After saying this, he buried his face in my neck, again nibbling. Daniel has a bit of a love-struck disposition. Back when I first flirted with him, he was truly aloof. Sometimes I can't help but suspect he was pretending before. The ringtone abruptly pierced the silence. Phone call. Daniel reluctantly released me, his dazed Phoenix eyes narrowing slightly as he shot me a look. I glanced at my phone and felt my heart drop. It was Charles, his voice low and icy on the line. Open the door. 10 seconds later, Charles' voice came again. Judith, I have plenty ways to make you open that door. It seems the sound I accidentally made just now was heard by Charles next door. I know him well. He is stubborn. And if this escalates, it would be hard to explain to outsiders. After all, he is here with his girlfriend, and I'm here with my boyfriend right next door. That's not what it's about at all. Daniel will just have to endure the inconvenience for now. Could you go hide in the bathroom first? Daniel clung to me without moving. Am I really that much of an embarrassment? I pressed my fingertips to my forehead. The one outside is my husband. Your current status is that of the other woman. Got it? He protests indignantly. He has also got a mistress, so why does this get to act so righteous while I have to be this pathetic? Seriously, with the fire licking at our eyebrows, he is still comparing himself to others. But indeed, Charles' little girl was quite self-righteous. I felt a bit guilty. It was me who made him so pathetic. So I had no choice but to bend down and bite his lip hard. But this way is more exciting for us. One bite, one tea do then take two. Good boy, he s, just part of our play. Daniel's eyes sparkled, his glistening lips curling into a slow smile that's more like it. The young master finally obeyed, sauntering leisurely into the bathroom. I pulled open the door to find Charles standing outside, his face dark with anger. Where is he, that adulterer? Charles pressed his lips together, glanced around, then tried to push open the bathroom door. It wouldn't budge. Fine, can he hide forever? This is a hotel under my brother's company. One phone call, and we'll have the surveillance footage crystal clear. Judith, just you wait, I'm going to find out who it is. Go ahead, and check. I've already looked at this room. It happens to be a blind spot for the cameras. But sometimes plans can't keep up with surprises. Charles called his brother. But Daniel's phone rang in the bathroom. Charles glanced at me suspiciously before hanging up, and the ringing inside abruptly stopped. He dialed again, and the pleasant ringtone once more echoed from the bathroom. 6 At this very moment, Charles' face turned as green as his company's crashing stock prices. Is it Daniel? Yep. I genuinely had no idea this hotel was part of Daniel's corporate empire. The bathroom door swung open. Daniel walked out calmly and took a seat on the sofa. Her legs were crossed as naturally as if she were in a cafe rather than caught in an affair. Go ahead, which part of the surveillance footage do you want to see? Charles Adams' apple bobbed repeatedly. His gaze shifted between me and Daniel. In the end, I couldn't hold back and swung my fist at Daniel. Daniel dodged it, his sharp eyes fixed on Charles as if seeing right through him. You think you're worthy of hitting me? Charles clenched and unclenched his fist. Veins bulging in his neck, he grabbed me roughly. Let us talk at home. It was the first time I'd seen Daniel exude such a sinister aura as he abruptly stood up. Come at me if you have a problem, don't touch Judith. Charles seemed genuinely angered. Daniel, Judith is my wife, this is our family matter. Daniel snorted coldly. Even with a marriage certificate, that's no excuse for you to hurt her. I reassured Daniel with a look, don't worry, I'll be fine. I happen to have something to discuss with him too. Daniel had no choice but to rein in his emotions. Then be careful not to do anything you shouldn't. Charles' face darkened further. Mind your own business, don't you have any sense of boundaries? As the third wheel, Daniel's voice was icy. I'm already the other woman, where's the sense of propriety in that? 7 On the way back, Charles floored the accelerator. Charles, you're driving too fast, I'm scared. That's right, there was someone else in the car sitting in the passenger seat. She was the young girl Charles had recently placed at the tip of his heart, Christine. Moments ago, Christine had been wearing a scandalously skimpy camisole dress, her eyes red as she gazed at Charles. Charles frowned, pondered for a moment, then brought her along too. I'll take you home first. Charles is acting like he's got a screw loose. The whole ride, he's been making eyes at Christine so intensely you could practically see sparks flying. Kept sneaking glances at my expression through the rearview mirror too. Would I be upset? Not a chance. Would I be angry? It seems not. When love is gone, there are no emotions left. Soon the car stopped in front of Christine's apartment. I'll walk you upstairs. Charles said this while looking straight into my eyes, as if waiting to see me get angry or jealous. I couldn't care less, that's fine, you can even deliver her to my bed. No rush, take your time. The door slammed shut with a bang in response. I'm being so generous, what has he got to be angry about? After walking 100 meters, Christine came clacking back in her high heels. Forgetting her lipstick was just an excuse. What she really wanted was to sting me with a few words. Why don't you just get a divorce? Afraid no one will want you at your age. You're already 27, that is something to worry about. But Charles likes me, just fine, your tantrums, one tea change that. I smiled at her bright, slightly silly face. Wasn't she the one who called me a haggard old woman on the phone last time? Always bringing up age. What, are you not going to live past 27? If he likes you so much, why does he keep you as the side piece? He really has no manners. Oh, by the way, I have a marriage certificate. Do you? If I divorce him, I get a share of the assets. If he dumps you, he doesn't owe you a single cent. Don't act like such a health nut at such a young age, always filling yourself with green tea. Her face turned pale with anger. You. I quickly rolled up the car window. Almost caught her nose in it. A good car has this advantage, soundproofing. I sat inside with the AC on, watching her mouth open and close against the car window. When the time felt right, I rolled down the window and scratched my ear. What was that? Say it again. You. I continued to raise the glass. Rather than tormenting myself, I'd rather drive others mad first. 2 hours later, Charles sat stiffly on the living room sofa with a cold expression. He lit a cigarette and held it in his hand. Judith, when did you start with him? I thought about it carefully. Then I said calmly, that time I brought you a home-cooked meal at the office, and you had Christine sitting on your lap. You told her you'd been playing with me for 7 years, and were tired of it. Charles' hand trembled as he held his cigarette. A flicker of panic flashed in her eyes. He would never know that the day I walked out of the company carrying a lunchbox, I cried until my stomach cramped. I used to love Charles so much. But after marriage, he took a blunt knife and slowly carved open my heart, leaving blood spilled all over the ground. I can only save myself. Whatever way makes me happy, that's the way I'll take. Abandon personal virtues and embrace a shameless life. If you can't beat them, join them. From that day on, I started seeing his friends, trying them one by one. Vomited over and over until I met Daniel. He was just too handsome. The key was that he was both handsome and skilled, curing my emotional fastidiousness. Charles' voice drifted through the smoke. Judith, break it off with him. I've ended things with Christine too. Let us start over. The inherent flaws of men. My affair partner is Daniel, a top-tier man. Charles has started reevaluating my worth again. When I obediently stayed at home, he found me dull and boring, free to hurt me as he pleased. I chuckled lightly. Charles, I've slept with you for 7 years. I'm tired of it. I'm giving those words right back to him. Charles froze for a moment, grinding his molars with the corners of his eyes turning red. His voice was cold as shards of ice. Judith, do you really think Daniel would marry you if we divorced? With his social status and family background, he only marries women from equally prominent families. And what's more, doesn't he know you used to be a used shoe? Does he with your own stepfather? At that moment it felt like my ears were ringing. I could no longer hear anything else. All I knew was this: the last shred of affection I had for Charles vanished completely. He quickly snapped back to reality, a glimmer of regret flashing in his eyes. I'm sorry, Judith, I spoke out of turn. Only now did I understand why he kept cheating. Perhaps it was partly due to his inherently promiscuous nature. On the other hand, it was his hidden disdain for me that he kept buried deep in his heart. Because you think I'm damaged goods, so you compensate by cheating. Judith. His Adam as apple bobbed as he reached out to embrace me. Charles, you disgust me. A sharp smack echoed the first time I'd ever slapped him. I put my full strength into it, the impact leaving my palm tingling and numb. A vivid red handprint immediately bloomed across Charles' pale, refined face. He froze for a moment, his eyes quickly darkening with anger. Just one touch from me makes you sick. Who doesn't he make you sick when they touch you, Daniel? Judith, wake up. Daniel's just playing with you. Are you really that desperate, throwing yourself at him like this? When a scumbag tries to gaslight you, there's no need to justify yourself. Charles, you're right. I'd rather throw myself at him than let you touch me. With that, I quickly walked into the room, closed the door, and locked it. Judith, come out. Charles was blocking the door, gnashing his teeth in fury. After violently kicking the door several times, he gradually calmed down before slamming it shut and storming off. I leaned weakly against the wall. Truth be told, I'd subconsciously buried that incident deep in my memory long ago. 9 Charles' words today were like an invisible, cruel hand. Without warning, they dragged me back into the dark tunnel of time. Mom, the way that uncle looks at me is weird. Mom put down the baby brother in her arms, her eyes filled with disgust. Who was to blame? Why did you have to wear tight jeans? Why did you have to wear a skirt? If you dressed uglier, who would even look at you? Are you that desperate, throwing yourself at people to be seen? I clenched my fists, the taste of iron filling my mouth. Her world consisted only of her stepfather and her newborn son. There was never any place for me. That afternoon, when Mom wasn't home, a scene straight out of a TV drama unfolded upon me. As I lay struggling and pleading on the living room floor, drowning in despair, Charles saved me. He witnessed the most wretched moment of my life. Her hair was disheveled, the buttons of her shirt scattered and missing. The boy's warm, clean hand held mine tightly. Judith, don't be afraid. I'm here. No one can hurt you. It was undeniable. He had once been a ray of light in my life. From that day on, I chose to leave my mother completely again. No matter how much she cried and begged me, I just looked at her coldly. Why bother? You want me back just to have a punching bag to vent your life's frustrations on? But Mom, it's also true that you don't love me. This is just how stubborn I am. No turning back, but I underestimated how much my mother resented me, hated me enough to destroy me. In the hallway, she ran into Charles. She gave Charles a cold smile. A mother knows her daughter's true nature best. She has putting on an act for you this isn't the first time she has done this with a man in my household. The mother's words undoubtedly planted a seed in Charles' heart. Year after year, it grew into a sharp thorn. Until the first time I was with Charles, the sheets were clean with nothing on them. That thorn pierced straight into the depths of his heart. I shyly whispered my explanation. I fell while learning to ride a bike before, so it got scraped. Charles just gave a non-committal It wasn't until years later that I realized he had never believed me in the first place. Not even once. Any relationship without trust has reached its end. Let us get divorced, I mean it. The screen lit up. Sure, when should we get married first? Oh, I sent it to the wrong person. 10 I accidentally sent the message meant for Charles to Daniel. Sent to the wrong person. This wasn't for you. Someone as clever as him naturally understood what it meant. Surely, I'm not the one causing trouble in your family life, am I? This text contains at least 80 related content. Don't sulk, let us talk things out properly. Have a good chat with him. Have you settled on a date? When are you getting divorced? Tomorrow, Friday, would be quite suitable. After the weekend, we'd have to wait 2 more days until Monday. I'm not in a hurry, just a little bit eager. I couldn't help but laugh. He was the one getting impatient first. Judith, I want to see you. His deep, mellow voice is tempting me again. But I don't want to. I'm truly exhausted today. Then shall I keep Judith company? After 2 hours of pure chatting, I grew weary of the conversation. What is the fun in just talking? Take your clothes off and let me see. He laughed in exasperation. Fine, you wait and see. Then the screen went black. It took him a full 10 minutes before he opened it again. With his hands crossed under the hem of his shirt, he slowly lifted it up. The moment his abs were revealed, I instantly perked up. Take off your pants and let me see. No, unless you come see me right now. I laughed, still playing hard to get. If you can show up in 5 minutes, I'll meet you. Playing games, Hut 2 can play at that. He lives in the southern part of the city, while I'm in the east. Even driving at 120 kilometers/h, it would take him an hour to get here. Yet 3 minutes later, I received Daniel's call. Come downstairs, Judith. My heart felt like it had been suddenly struck. I pulled open the curtains, and a Maybach was parked below. It was the car Daniel often drove. Daniel, have you been sitting outside my place for most of the night? Not really, we just got a room at the hotel nearby, when we took our clothes off. No wonder the screen went black, for 10 minutes. I want to be able to appear the moment Judy misses me. A warm current rose in my heart. I didn't even have time to change my shoes. Wearing pajamas and slippers, she rushed downstairs in a hurry. On a cool, breezy evening, rushing into a warm embrace. He tightened his grip around my waist. Judith, leave him be with me. Her beautiful phoenix eyes gazed at me quietly. At this moment, I believed the sincerity in his eyes wouldn't deceive me. But whether his words deceive or not, I can't say for sure. Daniel, tell me, would your family accept someone like me? Under the shimmering moonlight, our gazes met with perfect clarity. Daniel's eyes held a barely perceptible flicker of evasion. I saw it, I'm not some teenage girl anymore. I understand what you mean. Daniel's eyelashes fluttered slightly. Judith, give me time, I'll handle it. I smiled at him. Come find me when you've sorted it out. I didn't lose out in this relationship anyway. I didn't spend a single penny, and even got to freeload off him for a while. Men are a dime a dozen, the next one will be better behaved. I tightened my coat around myself and turned to go upstairs. Daniel stood outside my building all night. 11 Charles didn't return until noon the next day. Surprisingly, he was still holding a bag of groceries. It didn't match his expensive custom-tailored suit at all. Acting as if nothing had happened, he smiled at me. Judith, shall I make your favorite tomato glazed shrimp? Charles, let us get a divorce. Judith, do you want it sweet or sour? Charles, the first one to eat the shrimp, but I will divorce you. Judith, I can cook the shrimp, but I want to divorce you. Fine, let him indulge in his wishful thinking. Only then did I notice the look on his face. Exhausted, ashen, like he'd pulled an all-nighter. Stop staring at me, you annoyed me so much I couldn't sleep all night. Oh, so even when staying up late there's an inherent gap between people. Why is it that Daniel also pulled an all-nighter? Yet I'm utterly exhausted while he looks radiant as if nourished by some mystical energy. Leisurely buttoning his shirt by the bedside, he wakes me with a kiss. Stop, what am I doing thinking about this? I walked away with my head in my hands. Charles froze for a moment, then turned and went into the kitchen to make lunch. I took a bath and put on some beautiful makeup. The dining table was already set with 4 dishes and a soup. Charles hadn't cooked in a long time and was a bit rusty, but the dishes still looked passable. Tomato glazed prawns, garlic spare ribs, blanched okra. Judith, these are all your favorites, have some. Not eating, I've got to go out for something. Charles' eyes instantly dimmed. It's been cooking for a long time. He even raised his finger. Look, it's burned. I don't care if it's burned now, I wouldn't care if it was burned to death. Charles, do you have any idea how many meals I've waited through while you were out carousing and dating around? Judith, The response he received was the sound of a door slamming shut. 12 Charles became fervently devoted to me again, entirely of his own wishful thinking. It felt like we were back in the passionate early days of our love. He brought me flowers, picked me up from the art studio after work, and had dinner ready when I got home. Gifted me all kinds of expensive jewelry. But when I returned home that evening, Charles was completely drunk, supported by his brothers as they helped him home. His mouth kept slurring Judith repeatedly. Sister-in-law, you're finally back. Charles has been shouting nonstop that he needs to see you. He won't accept anyone else. After everyone had left, I nudged him with my foot. Stop pretending you don't act like this when you're really drunk. Charles rubbed his temples. Judith, you still know me best. Judith, I was wrong before. Can we start over? I'll treat you really well. A soft-hearted girl might have agreed. Then enjoyed a few sweet days together, only to fall back into the same old cycle of life. Remember, when it comes to men cheating, there are only 0 times or 100 times. Charles, we should have ended this long ago. It was just my stubbornness that kept me going until now. He stared at me in stunned silence. Judith, have you really fallen for Daniel? He clenched his back teeth, his expression dark and unreadable. Judith, I'll prove to you that Daniel isn't right for you. 3 days later, I was summoned to eavesdrop in the VIP lounge. The door was left slightly ajar, clearly left open for me on purpose. Faintly visible inside were all the prominent figures from the Southern Business District. Seated at the head was a regular face in the city's financial news, Daniel's grandfather, the patriarch of the Gu family. This was a private family banquet with no media presence. The topics these wealthy people discuss among themselves are far more cutting and realistic than ordinary folks could imagine. Daniel, I heard you're entangled with a married woman. All eyes in the room turned toward Daniel, especially Charles, who concealed a barely perceptible smirk at the corner of his mouth. I'm not that stupid. It wasn't hard to guess that Charles had someone deliberately ask those questions. I've heard Nicholas is domineering and extremely strict with his grandchildren. They can play around outside all they want, but when it comes to matters involving the family's interests, the grandchildren have no say. After all, Daniel isn't the only one in the Gu family who can inherit the family business. Daniel, what's going on? Daniel, who had been indifferent just moments ago, couldn't help but raise his head. He chuckled lightly, just having some fun, that's all. I had already anticipated this in my heart. Yet hearing it with my own ears, my heart still tightened uncontrollably. Daniel has exceptionally handsome features. Even when saying the most unpleasant things, his face remains lazily relaxed. I'll naturally discard her once I'm tired of playing. Someone with no family background and a second marriage at that, how could she possibly be worthy of entering our Gu family? Nicholas took a gentle sip of tea, his eyes and brows radiating warmth. Charles also allowed a faint smile to curl his lips. I suspect he was desperately hoping to see a look of devastation and sorrow on my face at this moment. What perfect proof this would be of how right his advice to me had been. Daniel cleared his throat lightly again, as if speaking to Charles, but women like this have their merits too. They're very sincere, easy to placate. You can marry one and keep her at home without needing to treat her with genuine affection while the man can still have his flings outside. Wasn't he this just a veiled jab at who I used to be? Charles, don't you think I'm right? Charles hesitated, his expression darkening. 14 followed by the sound of a chair being pulled back. Daniel stood up, undoing a button on his collar with one hand. Those words just now were exactly what Grandpa and you Charles wanted to hear, weren't they? After saying such ugly things, I feel like slapping myself twice. Men who disrespect women will be cursed with misfortune for life. So, if you're eavesdropping, make sure to listen till the very end. These days, everything has its own twist of fate. Daniel let out a light chuckle. Take my dad, for example. He betrayed my mom, so he died young. Oh, and Charles, you deserve to lose the best wife you ever had. Nicholas slammed the table. You're throwing away your career for a woman. If you choose to mess around with that woman, don't bother coming back to this family. Daniel slipped one hand in his pocket while picking up his suit jacket with the other, walking out. A lost career can be rebuilt. But once a wife is gone, she is gone. I'm leaving this meal. Doesn't he suit my taste? Enjoy your food slowly. I'm more suited to eating soft rice. Everyone exchanged glances. Daniel was about to come out. I hurriedly made my way toward the stairwell. At the corner, I was suddenly grabbed tightly by a hand. Judith, he said, his voice low, did you think you could eavesdrop and just walk away? Daniel buried his face in the crook of my neck. Judith, I've got nothing left now. Will you take care of me? Oh, so he was planning to live off me. Judith, one tea, keep me. I eat little and work hard. He deliberately emphasized the last word. The tips of my ears burned despite myself. Want to inspect the goods? No need, really. You've already tried them out so many times before, just never paid for it. Judith, now you'll have to pay up. This guy's mouth, honestly. Hey, are you really so love-struck you'd give up the Goof family inheritance? He raised an eyebrow slightly. Didn't you hear everything just now? I said give me time, I'll handle it properly. You just don't believe me. His eyes and brows were brimming with exaggerated grievance. Her limbs were tightly wrapped around me. The corners of my lips curled slightly. All right, let us go rent a place first. Daniel's eyes sparkled as he beamed brightly. You haven't paid attention to me these past few days. It's been killing me. Where does it hurt? He grabbed my hand and placed it everywhere. I shouldn't have asked. It was my big mouth that got me into this. Judith, you owe me compensation. Another sleepless night being too capable. Always a good thing. 16 when I handed the divorce papers to Charles. He pressed his temples. Are you sure about this? Even if he has nothing left. Charles was referring to Daniel behind me. He was here to supervise whether the divorce was properly finalized. Since breaking away from the Goof family, Daniel had become increasingly carefree, utterly shameless. He crossed his legs and made himself at home on the office sofa. He even had Charles' assistant brew him a cup of hand-ground coffee. I'm not completely destitute. At least I still have Judith. Her sparkling eyes brimmed with pride for him. Charles stood up, his face livid. He was seething with resentment inside. The whole dinner was meant to make me see through Daniel's true colors. Unexpectedly, Daniel did the exact opposite. Instead, it brought us closer. He was absolutely furious. You're proud of being kept by a woman, have you no shame? Daniel took a sip of coffee. What's the use of pride when I've got a wife? You don't understand there's real happiness in living off a woman yet acting tough about it. Never seen someone mooching with such righteous confidence. Today I finally witnessed it firsthand. Charles gave me a sinister glance. Judith, since you're so determined this divorce is inevitable. Fine, if you ever face difficulties, don't hesitate to come back to me. I'll always be waiting for you. Something feels off in my heart. Daniel is upset. He pulled me along as we walked out. What are you looking for? Clearly up to no good. A qualified ex-husband should be as quiet as the dead. Charles smashed a cup in the office. 17 Charles finally gave in. On the day I got the divorce certificate, I let out a sigh of relief and went home with a bouquet of my favorite lilies. Just as I reached the doorstep, a figure suddenly appeared. Judith, you're back. Mom's been waiting for you for so long. Staring at this middle-aged woman who felt both unfamiliar and familiar, a slight chill ran down my spine. Your uncle's been locked up. Someone accused him of molesting a young girl. That little girl didn't seem decent either. Your younger brother got caught by loan sharks after gambling debts. They said they cut his fingers if the money isn't repaid. Your brother is still young, and doesn't he know better? He was tricked by others. I struggled to suppress the anger rising in my chest. In the end, I couldn't hold it in any longer. Mom, can you please not be like this? Is everything always someone else's fault? Are your husband and son always right? Mom's eyes widened in shock. You wretched girl, how dare you speak like that? That's your stepfather and your own brother. Tell me, are you going to save them or not? Who told you I live here? Charles did such a good husband you're throwing away, and now you're keeping a toy boy instead. I press my fingertips against my forehead. Stop, my business is none of your concern. Furthermore, let me make it clear there's no saving them. They made mistakes and should face the consequences they deserve. Mom was furious, her facial muscles contorted with rage, reaching out angrily. Then give me some money. I laughed. Mom, the money I gave you a few years ago was enough for your retirement. Now it's gone. I'm not your inexhaustible personal bank. You heartless little brat. Fine, just you wait. Mom left grumbling and cursing. Daniel came back right after. At 18, he picked me up and placed me on the rocking chair on the balcony. Then, he made me a cup of rose tea. Lately, he has been getting more and more skilled at taking care of me. You heard that he nodded in undeniable agreement. Judith, if your family of origin brings you endless negativity, then boldly cut ties with your family of origin. Remember there's no shame in this. Daniel understands me. These are exactly my thoughts too. Daniel, then, I might not have much family left in the future. He kissed my forehead. Don't be afraid, you still have me. 19 I underestimated Mom's madness. On Monday, Daniel drove me to work at the Art Institute. A woman stood on the rooftop, ready to jump. Someone kept shouting through a megaphone. A crowd had already gathered on the first floor. Every face in the crowd looked at me with different expressions. My daughter is the head of this institution, Judith. Judith has loose morals and no integrity. She had affairs before even getting divorced. Would you trust your children to her care? And what's more, she has been seducing her own stepfather since she was a child. The sun beat down directly, making me dizzy. I staggered slightly, my back drenched in cold sweat. The person standing on the rooftop was my own mother. Yet time and again she tried to destroy me. Daniel pulled me into his embrace and covered my ears. Judith, don't listen, it's not your fault. He pulled out his phone with one hand, his expression icy. Yes, call the police. Get 2 people here as fast as possible, drag her down if you have to gag her with tape if necessary. The farce finally subsided under Daniel's mediation. Judith, she's your mother. How do you want to handle this? My nails dug into my flesh. The metallic taste from when I was 16 flooded my mouth again. My mother is emotionally unstable and mentally disturbed, requiring long-term hospitalization for intensive treatment. The last time I went to see her, a flicker of terror flashed through my mother's eyes. I'm your mother. I don't want to stay here. But Mom, you've never really treated me as your own daughter, have you? Love is reciprocal. Mom, you don't love me. Then, I won't love you anymore either. Don't worry, I'll provide your treatment fees consistently and long-term. Mom collapsed to the floor. I stormed into Charles's office. I wanted to slap him hard across the face. Can it be said that all this wasn't brought about by him? Using what I feared most to attack and humiliate me. Waiting until I was truly brought low to make me dependent on him again. Shameless, just didn't he expect someone to strike first? Daniel calmly put on his watch and fastened his cuffs. He gently wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with his thumb. There was a kind of broken beauty about him, utterly captivating. Even after a fight, he still knew how to charm. Judith, you're here. Charles. Yes, fine, just a little lesson. Charles on the ground looked utterly wretched, far from just a little lesson. Her clothes were torn, the corner of her mouth was split, and her face was covered in bruises, not a single patch of unmarked skin. Yet it was oddly satisfying to see. Daniel sneered, only a worthless man would attack a woman with accusations of chastity. I've only ever belonged to Judith, can you say the same? Just a rotten cucumber. Where does all that superiority come from, cheating again and again? Still trying to use Judith as family to ruin her career. Don't you understand, men who destroy women's careers get struck by lightning? Charles' gaze shattered into fragments. Judith. Judith, it hurts. He clutched his chest in pain. There was a time when I would immediately fuss over him, comfort him, and massage him whenever he complained of pain. But that was all in the past. Judith, take a look, I'm really sick. His trembling hand held out a cancer diagnosis report. I met his hopeful gaze. Word by word, clear as a bell. Charles, you deserve it. Charles instantly turned ashen, his eyes dimming without a trace of light. Judith, I feel dizzy, quick, get me an emergency appointment. Daniel looked like he was about to faint, startling me. 21 ran some tests. The doctor hesitated, then finally spoke just one sentence. It might be phantom pain. Told me to go home and rest. I understand now. Daniel is really getting into his role. Every day it's either this ache or that pain. Either coaxing me to peel grapes for him or sweet-talking me into rubbing his back. And during those back rubs things often get out of hand. Daniel, you need to exercise some restraint. I'm broke now, this is all I'm good for. I'm afraid if I don't perform well you'll abandon me. He spoke so pitifully, the corners of his eyes deliberately tinged with red. In the following days he became even more outrageous. He stopped cooking meals altogether. Not a shred of awareness that he was being kept. Sighing all day long in front of me. Judith, I simply can't cook this meal. What's wrong with you? Now he is the one acting aggrieved. I go in and out of your place every day buying groceries without any proper status. Everyone at the market points fingers at me. They said such awful things about me, that I'm improper, that I'm throwing myself at men, that I'm a simp. I can't even sleep anymore, terrified people might dig up my past scandal of being the other woman for love. I was speechless. Fine, what do you want? We've been living together for so long, yet you haven't even mentioned getting married once. Are you always ready to just pull up your skirt and walk away without a second thought? I snapped my notebook shut with a sharp thwack. Fine, we'll get the divorce papers signed next Monday. Yet he still kept dragging his feet. What's wrong now? Is this still not good enough? Can we go tomorrow, please? I really can't wait until next Monday. This must be meant for her. Money. Daniel beamed radiantly. Humming a tune, she happily went grocery shopping with her basket in hand. A few minutes later I heard him greeting the neighbor. Nice weather today, huh? Oh, did you know I'm getting my marriage license tomorrow? Before midnight the whole neighborhood knew about it. Did you hear the resident in 603 is getting their marriage certificate tomorrow? 22 After getting the certificate, I finally realized, a man as sweet talk truly can't be trusted. I've chosen a villa by the creek as our marital home. Do you like it, Judith? Wait, weren't you kicked out of the Goo family? Turned into a pauper, yes, but I never said I was broke. Don't worry, I still have some overseas assets, completely personal, more than enough to support a wife. Total assets amount to. My face fell a little. Daniel, even you lied to me. Most of these have undergone asset transfers, still in process, all registered under Judith's name as dowry. I rubbed my nose. Oh, an occasional lie doesn't matter. Later Daniel pinned me down on the bed. Over and over again. Judith say something. Do you actually like me for who I am, or for my money? What a devilish creature. Even the trailing tone of that is so damn alluring. Children are the ones who make choices. I want both the money and the man. The end.